So yes, really just 2 minutes to give a little bit of context, because some Boavizta members might have tried at some point a former project which was called Software. And the Carenage project is, let's say, the new version of Software, more than a new version actually, and Benjamin will present how it differs. But Software, just for the record, it was a project that we did for the SDIA, which is the Sustainable Digital Infrastructure Alliance. And it was a project that used some of the Boavizta open source tools. It was an open source tool as well. The idea was to combine multiple tools. So it was BoAgent, Boavizta API, and Scaffold that we developed at Hubblo to provide environmental metrics in continuous integration chains to help product teams to improve the sustainability of the software alongside the development. So this was really technically it was a basic project because we used only components that were available to store the metrics. It was based on Prometheus and Grafana, so it was functional, but it was not the basis of the project didn't allow us to provide an interesting experience for the developer and the users. So we wanted to do something about that. That's what Benjamin will talk about today.
Yes, thank you. And so hello everyone. So we've been working at Hubblo on Carenage for a while now, for a few months, I would say. And so first of all, Carenage, which is careening in English, and that's the process still used, but not so much anymore, of putting a boat on a bank and putting it down and allow it to be inspected, to be rebuilt, to be painted back. Any other process that wouldn't need a dry dock or was made without a dry dock. And so we thought that still in the I would say maritime team of Hubblo to choose this name for this new project, and which is, as Benoit say, a rebuild of software. And so for today, I will present what we did so far, try to present the objectives and use cases of Carenage as a whole. I will go into a bit of detail on the software architecture itself and how it's resting on Boavizta API, on Scaffold, on BoAgent, which I'm also the maintainer nowadays. So I will talk a little bit also about BoAgent and the changes I made during the year. And to end, I will talk about what's working now and what will happen soon, what will be implemented soon for Carenage in the coming months. And yeah, I guess this is the first semi-public announcement on Carenage, and we'll do a little bit more in the coming months. But this is still an early stage project, and we would like to, like I said in the chat, I will take a little bit around 30 minutes to talk about it, and we are very much eager to hear about what you want to say, what you think, and what you would like to see implemented in Carenage in the coming months. So Carenage, its objectives, its use cases, and the main point of Carenage is to make environmental evaluations for software projects easier, to make this evaluation, these matrix data readily available and easily displayed on a dashboard or something like that, and also to help software development teams to adopt eco-design practices. And so I would say this is the first main objective of Carenage. And as Benoit said, it's a CI tool. It's meant to be implemented and to be used in a CI workflow. So the point of it is to automatically evaluate any software project regarding of its programming language, its stack, anything. That's not really important to Carenage. It's meant to be used on a CI in a CI workflow, and to evaluate what's happening in the environment of execution of the workflow itself. And so to give data and to evaluate metrics on to give environmental impact metrics available during this runtime execution of any program, any process. And the point also is to make it easier for software development teams, and the main point of it is to make its configuration, its setup as easy as possible, and as minimal as possible. And yeah, it's mainly thought to be used in a CI script, and to just put Carenage start in the beginning and Carenage stop in the end, and whatever happens between those two steps is really not the concern of Carenage. It will just create metrics and put it into a database and make it afterwards available through a RESTful API. And so, yeah, that's the second objective of Carenage, is to make environmental evaluation readily available and displayable. And so to make the parsing of such evaluation really available is to make the raw data generated by Carenage available through a RESTful API. I will talk a little bit more on that when I will discuss the software architecture of Carenage. And after the execution of a CI workflow is ready to just afterwards to make it already displayed in a dashboard. And so for that, we are also working on a dashboard, a front-end interface for Carenage, and that will also, after the execution of a CI workflow, is to make an URL available and to really already see these metrics displayed on a dashboard with different graphics and everything, to make it, to make a simple dashboard, but that will be able to give a first evaluation of the CI workflow that was executed, and to give all the metrics available in that dashboard. And so, if teams want to have more complex or more tailor-suited needs for their display of data, of matrix data, that would be beside the scope of the dashboard generated. But we want to make this the raw data available through the API for that, and that's such that software development teams can use the data and put it into their own solution, like Apache Superset, for an example, that is able to read a JSON format and to make it to display this data in more complex visualizations. Well, that's the second objective, to make this evaluation really available and displayed, such as that. And also, the third objective, I would say, for Carenage is to help software development teams to adopt eco-design practices. And aside from generating data, and aside from making this data already visible on graphical elements in a front-end interface, is to try to give an evaluation of the software projects in its phase, at the time it was evaluated, but also to help in a longer run to give comparisons inside the project, but also comparisons between similar projects. Imagine you have a web application, and you want to see what your web application is it eco-friendly or not, or is it environment costly or not? And maybe you don't really know how to evaluate that. But so Carenage would also like to help you have some ideas on how environment costly and how to better adopt eco-design practices in your project. And for that, we need to give some hints to the front end, to the final users, and some maybe some comparisons between similar projects to see how such project is it going in the right direction or not. And to that, I would say that the dashboard front end will also be able to evaluate quickly and simply the bottlenecks or the main pain points of projects, whatever metric is considered useful for that, whether environmental impact metrics, but also more hardware component use metric. And for that, we need maybe pairing environmental impact matrix with hardware component matrix when needed. And for that, for these all three objectives, we would like to do so on different scales. So we want to help software development teams evaluate their projects, and to do so at a given time, after the execution of one workflow, but also through the whole lifetime of a project, and depending on different releases and different moments in the lifetime of a project. And so for that, Carenage is stocking data for a project, and so you have one evaluation at some point, and you want to see 6 months later how it compares with the previous evaluation. Well, that should be available in the database, and you can then have comparisons really available and for that. And so the project will, Carenage, the dashboard will be able to show you on different dimensions, on different scales, whether it is a project, a workflow, or different workflows, or even during different executions of CI jobs, etc., etc. So yeah, we want to make Carenage a tool that is usable in the long run for software development team. After that, so some use cases for Carenage. I'm a software developer, I'm a software development team, I'm a product manager, anything like that. And we want to visualize, to display the environmental impact matrix of the project I'm working on several dimensions: project, a CI workflow, a CI run. I wish to know where my project is the most costly and get hints on how to address that. And for our last use case, and I wish to know how my project compares to other similar projects. Those are the main use cases we want to address, at least in the first stages of Carenage, and to help software development teams to accomplish those, to fulfill those needs in the end. After presenting those objectives and use cases, I would like to take some time to present the software architecture of Carenage at the moment, and how it has been thought of, and how it could be integrated in the workflow of a software development team. So you're a software development team. The first stage is you're working on your software development, on your software project, and you're just committing on your code base, something like that. And so CI workflow, DevOps workflow are pretty much common these days. So there is probably a CI scripts that exist in your repository, and you just want to. The first step to use Carenage is to integrate in any kind of script. Carenage as a tool in those CI workflows. So just putting Carenage start and Carenage stop at some point in your script, and whatever happens between those steps, that's not the concern with Carenage, as I said before. After the workflow has ended, and you want to visualize the data, you can view the dashboard through an URL you have readily available after the CI has run. And in the end, afterwards, after the CI workflow has run, and after you have seen the data displayed on the dashboard, you want to have the data, hold the metrics in a raw format, in JSON format, and you want it to maybe use for your own kind of display tools you use, and you want to create even your own visualization tool, so that will be available through through a link somewhere on the page, or just by making request to the RESTful API of Carenage in the end. So that would be the main steps in using Carenage at the moment. And to do that, well, yes, as I said, you have you have your GitLab repository, you have your GitLab CI .yaml in your repository, and you just use it like this you have, for example, some tests you have implemented in your CI. You just want to see how your software project costs, what metrics are generated during those tests. So there, yeah, you would use Carenage kind of like this before setting up Carenage in itself in your script. And how Carenage works is where I'll take some time here. So mainly, Carenage is separated for the backend, is separated between a daemon, a background process that's run after Carenage start has been executed. There is then a command line interface with in the backend as an application, and there is a RESTful API also that will communicate with the database and make the data available and parsable afterwards. So the Carenage daemon mainly for each process and for each hardware component that is evaluated through Boavizta API will query BoAgent and get those metrics and then put them in the database. Also, yeah, BoAgent uses Boavizta API, Scafandre, and so I will take some time to discuss a little bit of how BoAgent has evolved. Before that, BoAgent was making a summary of all metrics generated by Boavizta API and Scafandre after parsing the local configuration of the computer that is running BoAgent. So BoAgent parses the hardware of a computer, and after this parsing, sends requests to Boavizta API and also gets data from Scafandre to get the energy consumptions metrics, but also the components use metrics from Scafandre. So to do that was mostly through query, to the query endpoint. But now, as Carenage needs data for each process that is running in the CI workflow, we need to have to allocate the embedded impact metrics for each process and for each hardware component. And so during the year, I also worked on BoAgent to implement this process embedded impacts endpoint, and to allocate at a given timestamp the environmental impact metric consumption for CPU, for RAM, for storage devices. And so if you're curious about that, you can check the repo and how it is implemented. But no, it's used if you have a process ID in your environment, you can create process embedded impacts. If you're running BoAgent on your computer, and you can have those metrics readily available. And that's exactly what is Carenage, the daemon of Carenage, doing, is for each given run step, if the default one is every 5 seconds, for each process, Carenage will query BoAgent and give you data for the computer, and also for each process that is running in the CI environment. And afterwards, after that, Carenage, the daemon, is putting this data in the database through the model of the database that has been implemented for Carenage. And so through that, after Carenage has stopped in the CI, the data in JSON format is available to be parsed and queried through the Carenage RESTful API. So for each dimension that is existing in the database, whether it is projects, workflow, jobs, runs, etc., with the ID, you can query with the unique ID. You can query the RESTful API, and you can get the metrics from for each dimension. So if it's a project, you will get all the metrics for all the workflows that has been run for the project, and you'll get the metrics in itself. But also, that's one use of the API. But as I said, Carenage has also a front-end interface, and the dashboard can generate pages through calls through the RESTful API of Carenage. And I will quickly show what the front end looks like right now. So I guess it's yes. So if there are designers in the room, I know there is one. Maybe no, I think it's not there. Yes, if there are designers in the room, I'm sorry, but that's or it is not right now. So after the CI workflow as executed, you can see that you'll see a project page where you'll see metadata displayed. You'll see your project metadata, all your pipelines, all your runs, all your jobs that has run for each pipeline. Your gate here that has not been implemented yet, but you'll see all the aggregated metrics for a project. So whole metrics, the environmental impact metrics, but also every other component metrics that have been generated by Carenage. And to that, you can navigate through the website to see the different dimensions of your project. So if you want to see your pipeline, you'll get there, and for each pipeline, you'll have the metadata, and you have your simple flowchart of your pipeline jobs, and in the end, you'll see also the aggregated metrics values for the pipeline. But also, if you want more precise metrics and you want to see the job metrics, like for each pipeline you have different jobs, well, then you can see here that for each metrics you can see the metrics displayed for each process. So, for example, your pipeline has executed different processes during the execution of the pipeline and in the execution of the job, and you can see summarized there the different processes that have run then. And for each process, you can select the different metrics for that. And you'll see a simple, this is for the moment a simple graph that will show the different metrics, and also summarize here all the metrics displayed in a table here and on the graph there. And you can come back to the different dimensions of your project like this. So for the front end, this is how it is for the moment. It will of course evolve, and as the project evolves and is made better. And I will come back to the sorry. Okay, sorry. So this is how it is for the moment, for the software architecture of the project at the moment. And I will summarize what is at the moment existing for Carenage, and I will also talk a little bit about the coming features that we are thinking of for Carenage, and to see what you want, also what you'll be interested to see in the coming months for Carenage. So at the moment, the backend is able to query metrics for a specific CI job that has been executed, a CI run, and that will get all the metrics for each process that has been executed in the CI environment. But also it's able also to visualize, to display those metrics on the generated dashboard, along with basic metadata for each project, for the project, for each pipeline, etc., etc. So that is where we are right now for the end use cases of the available features. But what we want to implement as a priority is the upcoming features that are summarized here. We want to make the integration of Carenage as simple as possible in GitLab CI scripts. We are thinking for the moment to prioritize integration in GitLab, and then afterwards in GitHub Actions and any kind of CI tool that are available. We want to make aggregated metrics available for a project, for a pipeline, etc., for each dimension, to not show the precise metrics for run inserted for the whole run of a CI, but also summarize the aggregated metrics for each environmental impact factors that are available and that are available through Boavizta API, but also every aggregated matrix that are available through Scaffold. Another important feature we want to implement is to give hints to users on where to the reduce of each environmental impact, and that will be to identify, as I said, bottlenecks and pain points that are visible, that are displayable on the dashboard. And we want also to compare similar projects between them and to allow users to make their data available, also, of course, anonymized. And to allow each project to be able to be compared through other similar projects to that, and to also give helps to software development teams, depending on their technology stacks, to identify tools that could help them to adopt eco-design practices, depending of whether they're using Python, Rust, any kind of programming language, or any kind of programming tool that they're using, or any kind of project types they're working on. There are external tools that are available for that, and we want to automatically identify those tools that could be made available for any kind of any software development team that want to use Carenage. So yeah, that should do it for first presentation of Carenage in its early stages, and I'm happy to hear about what you want to say on that, and any question you have. Benoit and I are available now to answer your questions and to hear your thoughts and remarks on what you're thinking about the project in its present stage. Thank you for listening.
Hello Benjamin.
Yes.
What is the current status in terms of delivery of Carenage?
Well, I think for to have aggregated metrics available and to visualize this in a dashboard and to integrate all of this in GitLab, we're thinking of the first few months of next year.
Okay.
That will be a deadline.
So, and my second question is, what do you mean about aggregated metrics? So I don't know quite well about BioAgent and the result of BioAgent, but you have shown power consumption curves metrics. Do you mean, for example, integrating the power consumption of the software during stress tests in order to have the energy consumed by the project, by the program during the test?
Yeah, that will be that will be when thinking about aggregated metrics is for each well, for example, the total emissions in JWP, or well, as you said, the the use of consumption metrics, and to have aggregated as a total, as an average, as a maximum values, etc., to make all those aggregated metrics displayed depending on the dimension, whether it is for the project's lifetime or during the execution of a CI pipeline, for example. That would be what I'm thinking about on aggregated metrics, and not hold the values displayed on the graph as it is possible for the execution of a CI run. Yes, Benoit?
Yeah, maybe to clarify, we meant we said aggregated because it's at the level you are looking at the moment. So it's aggregate. If you are looking at a pipeline, it's aggregated at the pipeline level. So it might include the metrics for multiple jobs running in this pipeline. If you are looking at the job view, it will be aggregated metrics at the job view. So it will include the metrics for multiple processes and multiple parts of the applications, maybe. And then if you look at a given run, just that's the idea, basically. Any level you look at, you might have aggregated metrics. Then you can zoom in and go to the deeper level and see more detailed metrics.
Okay. Okay, so I can add another question.
Yes, of course.
What is the difference between what will be the difference between Carenage and software?
I would give well, software didn't have a front-end interface, I think. Maybe Benoit can help me on that.
It was there was one which was Grafana, so it wasn't customizable. You couldn't customize it and give a detailed view that precisely. But the main difference was probably regarding how the metrics are stored, because it was a time series database, it was Prometheus. So it was okay to just look at the metrics in graphs, but here the front end, as said Benjamin, is like the first iteration of the front end. But now, because there is a true database behind it, and because we have a daemon that's there to gather the metrics, query the right tools at the right time, we have full control on what the application is doing, what are the process running, the tests themselves. We could make the difference between the resources consumption or environmental estimations for the application being tested or the process that's being testing the application. So that kind of things we didn't have that much control before. At least we couldn't present those specificities in a great way for the user with Grafana and Prometheus. And now it opens the way to presenting much more actionable views to the user, so that it can see in a very detailed way, okay, my consumption of RAM had a bump at this moment, and it's related to this event, and that's to gain this control that those changes have been made.
Okay.
And maybe I think that even in terms of governance of a project, basically software was built during hackathon initially and was not that much maintained afterwards. So I think there is also this, and it's not the priority of software was under the SDIA umbrella, and it's probably not the priority of SDIA to work on tooling at the moment. So maybe there is also this aspect to the project.
Yeah, it's true. Software was kind of a demonstrator for the SDIA, and they had a project with the German government But yeah, there was no plan to maintain the project afterwards. So because we contributed already to BoAgent, we are thinking, okay, let's start a project that we have full control on to propose a better version of it. So you're right, Olivier.
I've got a questions. We saw that you give energy consumptions, metric like that. Do you have any elements to directly connect to, for example, Boavizta API and provide environmental impact metric?
Well, BoAgent also BoAgent gets data from Boavizta API, so yes, it is. Those metrics are also available in the end for during the execution of a CI run. So this is the BoAgent creates a JSON object that is combining data from Boavizta API and from Scafandre. So yeah, environmental impact and power consumption metrics at the same time.
Okay, got it. In interface, in the interface, we don't see that, but we have all.
Yeah, you do. I mean, maybe I was a bit quick on displaying the metrics, but there were power consumption metrics, but also the environmental impact metrics for each process, everything. Yeah.
Nice. And
Yeah,
did you do an? Oh, sorry. Maybe you want.
No, I mean.
Did you do an evaluation about environmental impact of the tool itself?
That should be done too at some point. But I guess well, it's a process running on the same environment, so you'll get the metrics for that.
Nice.
Yeah, Benoit.
Yeah, to clarify, all the metrics come from BoAgent.
Yes.
What does Carenage is gathering more information about the run and
yes, yeah, all the metadata from the CI environment that's the job of Carenage also to add those elements, and also through the RESTful API is to get the metadata from GitLab afterwards to give more information on the life the project's life through its CI workflows and everything.
So yeah, so every metric you get from BoAgent, you could have them at the software level through Carenage, and so it means now that the API provides up to 16 environmental criteria, you might have them in Carenage. We didn't work on the 16 right now, but it's not that complicated to implement. And alongside with environmental estimations, you have IT resources consumption, which are very important too, because you want to cross information between those two kinds of metrics to identify how you could improve your software.
Maybe a last question from my side.
Yeah, go ahead. No problem.
Did you test it with a VM or cloud instance of GitLab?
I tested it through a GitLab runner. I mean, the test for the project I run through the GitLab runner on my computer. So yes, that should be, but through a VM or a cloud instance. No, not yet. Yeah, no.
Okay.
And that probably won't work in its current stage in a VM. Like the worker, the CI worker should be a bare metal machine for now, because of the energy metrics, like REPL in virtual machines. It can work, but it's much more complicated. But you could imagine running the worker in a VM if you do the required setup before to get the energy metrics inside the VM.
But that shouldn't be the work of someone using Carenage, so I don't think.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot for this, interesting presentations. And
Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much.